When's the last time that you saw a sweet, charming film that was also a heartbreaking punch in the gut? Welcome back to Glenn Hates Everything. I'm Glenn, and how many times have you watched these YouTube film critics and wondered what their credentials are? Well, I'm going to give you mine. I am the senior film critic for the 3 times in a row GLAAD-nominated The Queer Review. I also am UCLA Film School educated. I've worked on tons of films in production in various capacities. I also have written and directed my own films. So when I talk about films, I kind of live and breathe films. I've seen so many, I've worked on so many, I've made so many. So think about that when you consider my opinion, okay? Anyhow, so today we're going to talk about The President's Cake, which is the directorial debut of filmmaker Hasan Hadi, who is Iraqi. And this film was made in Iraq, which is mind-blowing enough considering its history. It's also really daring, because what it does, it sets itself in the early 90s during Saddam Hussein's reign after U.S. sanctions had been put into effect. So it's a struggling economy, it's an authoritarian, cruel regime, and oftentimes when you see films that are set in the Middle East with such a setting, you often don't see the real story. You'll see allegories. Oftentimes they'll make films about children on a quest to disguise its criticism of the regime. Well, this is a children on a quest movie, yet it's very openly critical about the regime. So that's a rarity. And so it's very much after the fact so that they were able to speak more freely. And it's a remarkably sweet, beautiful little adventure story that also packs a punch. It stars Benin Ahmad Naif, who plays Lamia, who's a little girl who lives with her grandmother in the Mesopotamian marshes of Iraq. And she canoes her way to and from school every day. And one day at school, the teacher announces that there's going to be a drawing and that whoever gets picked gets the honor of baking a cake for President Saddam Hussein. And this is something that did happen back in Iraq, where despite all of the difficulties of trying to survive, the president and his overwhelmingly crazy ego demanded that everyone bake a cake for him in the various schools, or else. And so there was this threat of punishment if you didn't comply. There's even the hint that one family said that they were dragged from a truck, or there's lots of rumor going around that this is dangerous if you don't comply. And yet it's such an economy that getting the ingredients to bake a cake are seemingly impossible. So poor Lamia goes home to her grandma, tells her, and they just don't know what to do. And so they set off for Baghdad, where there's at least the hope of finding the ingredients for a cake. And she comes with her adorable little rooster named Hindi, who is with her in a little bag, a little sack that she carries around with her, and goes on this quest, runs into people that she knows, and really goes through hell to try to get these cake ingredients. I'm not going to say more about the story because it is quite the adventure, and it's beautifully shot. There's a lot of neorealism here that is akin to Italian cinema, where it's just real time, natural. These are mostly non-actors in this film, including the adorable Benin, who is just stunning. She's soulful. She carries the weight of the world on her shoulders, and you feel it. And yet she's still retaining her childhood innocence best she can. I was reminded of Jafar Panahi's great 1995 film, The White Balloon, which told a similar tale, disguised its criticism of the regime by telling a tale of a little girl who is going across Tehran to find a goldfish. And that one, though, was veiled, whereas this one is not. And you feel the full force of Hadi's feelings about Saddam Hussein's regime in this film. And it comes to a blistering conclusion that is unforgettable. It's really powerful, and yet it's such a simple, sweet story. And it's kind of hard to reconcile the two, because it's a feel-bad movie in which you feel beautiful feelings at the same time. It weaves in and out of the narrative in such a masterful way. And yet there's some stunning shots of, say, a car on the road during a lightning storm that you don't expect in a neorealist movie. And so it really does pack a visual punch while at the same time feeling very homespun. I can't recommend this movie enough. It's really feels current for those of us living elsewhere and seeing the seeds of what happened in Iraq blooming and starting to bud. And so it's not going to be an easy movie to find. It is limited in theaters, but it should expand out and eventually find its way on streaming. And it's just a great peek into another culture in another time, and see how people persevered and endured, because the movie just keeps moving forward of Lamia's quest, and it's just intriguing. I kind of sat up in my seat the whole film watching this. I hope you go to watch it, and if you do, leave a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I need all the support I can get, and thanks again for watching.